We would like to invite you for a brief moment into the 1980s and 1990s. Imagine the rise of blockbuster movies and music videos, an explosion of consumerism, the commercialization of the Rubik's Cube, and the Walkman, ancestor of the iPod. It was also a decade of powerful social movements, in part stirred by the end of the Vietnam War. These included advancements in and backlashes against the feminist movement, protests in Tiananmen Square in China, the destruction of the Berlin Wall, the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Civil Rights Restoration Act, the AIDS crisis, international rallies against nuclear weapons, and pro-environment concerts. In some countries, indigenous peoples were mobilizing against their government and the societal status quo to seek redress for stolen land and lost language. During this period of protest for human rights, two wonderful social workers, Michael White and David Epstein, met at a conference. They shared many passions, in particular, a desire to depathologize the mental health system of the time and develop respectful, collaborative, and dignifying therapeutic conversations with clients reporting serious burdens. They disliked a dominant professional mindset of the time, which conceived of people seeking counseling as disordered beings, degrading them instead of restoring their dignity and agency. Michael and David agreed on an important concept. If people were born into different cultural contexts or life situations, they would not have the same struggles. For example, a teen girl who struggles with anorexia might not develop that problem if she was born into a Polynesian community where large body frames instead of thinness are a sign of high status, strength, and beauty. Michael and David saw both problems and desirable outcomes as intimately associated with the contexts in which people developed. The deficit-based approaches used by many mental health services seemed to create issues or make problems worse for people rather than help them. Along with their partners, Cheryl White and Ann Epstein, who held to a strong feminist approach, they were mobilized by issues around power and gender inequities. Contextual factors such as trauma, social isolation, or challenging family dynamics negatively affected by patriarchy were often ignored in the mental health system of the time, which tended to be reductionist and dismissive of many important social influences. On a personal level, Cheryl and Anne witnessed the devastating negative effects of these cultural biases in their own lives. Michael White commented about his childhood that almost every adult man I knew was abusive. It was a terrible thing. The aftermath of domestic violence in his neighborhood was visible on a regular basis, with women covering their faces and men diminishing the severity of the matter. Michael grew up sensitized to these injustices by an incredibly loving and caring mother who gave him a sense that there has got to be more than this.